the highest form of treason. The Terran looked up at the High Justice of the Intergalactic Union of Species and smiled. No one liked it when Terrans smiled. They always did that when things were going to go, or had gone badly for someone, or something else. So to clarify, unless the Terran Confederation's terms of surrender are absolute, the Mahact will not accept the surrender, and will treat all Terran vessels as pirates or military vessels. He didn't wait for confirmation. He knew it was the case. This was just formality. In that case, I would like to submit these documents for the Union's filing. You will find the terms of a full surrender. There was silence. What had just happened? The Terran had surrendered without a feat. What was this? You will also find a full inventory of the Confederation's resources and forces. The High Justice looked over the papers, then spluttered. What is this? 8 pencils, 6 chairs. There is nothing here. He glared at the Terran, who only smiled wider. Oh, I did forget. See this here. He produced yet another document from the voluminous stack next to him. Is a declaration of the results of a rather nasty rebellion that happened a little while ago. The Terran Confederation was reduced to little more than a tiny listening station on the outskirts of space. Also attached is a notice of withdrawal from the Union. He handed over another small pile of paper. There was yet more spluttering, and the entire court erupted into chaos. Finally, the judge recovered his voice. You have no evidence of this rebellion. Until proof is submitted, all her... The now grinning Terran cut him off with a rustle of paper and a slight cough. U.S. Law, Section 177811-6, Subsection 8b. Any evidence of warfare, legal matters, transgressions, or similar events are to be inspected and confirmed by the presenting party, and will be treated what fact. The lawyer put down the paper. Such law was invoked by the Mahact for their casus belli with the now dissolved Confederation. Despite protests from all other involved parties. He smiled sweetly at the High Justice. Here is the recording of the rebellion, at least as best as could be by cameras active at the time. He presented a small memory chip and set it down on the table. In reality, it just contained a very long, very loud recording of a specific human song. The Justice suppressed another bout of spluttering and was slowly going blue in anger. This was supposed to be a humiliation of the Terrans, putting them back in their place under the Union. This will not stand. This is treason. The Terran actually laughed. I guess to tyrants, the highest form of treason is freedom. He said and handed over a rather large stack of papers. Upon closer inspection, it was easy to see that the font was so small one would need a magnifier to read it. The paper was also double-sided. Humanity is no longer a confederation, union, or any such thing. Each human ship is its own sovereign. This is a unified aid agreement between all human starships, colonies, space stations, and outposts, excluding the listening post that remains the Terran Confederation, obviously. If you wish to deal with humanity, you must come to an agreement with each ship captain, station commander, fleet admiral ECT, on their own terms. The High Justice looked about, ready to explode. Meanwhile, the human had picked up a rather large case and set it on the desk. This, that makes you all pirates, treasonous pirates. The Justice finally found his words. The human raised an eyebrow. Does it now? Well then, you'll be needing these, he said, and presented another sheaf of papers as he picked up a tricorn hat from the case and put it on his head. The lawyer, now a pirate, was trying very hard not to laugh. He'd been wanting to do this in court for years. You will find, as agreed by over 90% of the galaxy's pirates, the newest form of the pirate code. And as per Union law. I can't be bothered to remember the number, but who cares? I'm a pirate now. The Union will permit non-Union members to dress as is standard for them in formal settings. As the human was talking, he was pulling things out the trunk. A long, heavy coat with silvered buttons, a waist holster with what appeared to be a heavy-caliber pistol, and strangest of all, a metal blade, about 3.5 feet long and slightly curved. Additionally, when an outside species or other group is examined in Union law, they may request a judgment and trial in line with their species. Now you will find in that code that the defendant of any accusation may choose a trial by a court of their peers, or may choose to face the accuser in a sword duel. He pulled out a second blade and placed it on the High Justice's desk, before walking back to the chest and pulling out an eye patch and putting that on. "I request trial by sword," he said, grinning like a madman. The entire court, which had been silent, aghast at the human's tenacity and gall of doing such a thing, exploded into noise, shouts, yells, jeering, cheering. It was utter chaos. The constant banging of the High Justice on the desk took a good 5 minutes to bring the courtroom back to order. The justice itself was apoplectic with rage, spitting and trying not to swear. It took the creature another 3 minutes to go from incapable of talking to a more moderate seething state. "Get out my court," the creature said, trying to keep its tone calm and even. The human smiled and raised his hat in polite thanks. "Oh, and one more thing," the human pirate said at the doors, turning to face the assembled dignitaries. They looked confused at the human as the human grinned. "You may want to head back to your own ships." He snapped his fingers as the entire station went red and alarms started to go off. The last words that were heard was the human gloating as he walked down the corridor. "We pirated the life support